Hi everyone. In this tutorial I'm going to show you some basics of animation. So what is animation? Animation is all about spacing and timing. And now what does this mean? Let me show you. So I'm going to go to front view and I'm going to move my cube to maybe this point, and let's call this point A, and I want to move it to point B right here. Okay, so if I move it from point A to point B, then this is a known distance for me. So it's just going to be moving from one point to the other in a known distance, and this is called spacing. And while it's moving, it's going to take time to move from point A to point B, and this is called timing. And of course, while it's moving from this point to this point, it's going to be moving at a certain speed. So what does this mean? It means that if it takes, for example, 1 second to get from point A to point B, then we have a known speed. If it takes the cube 3 seconds, then it's going to take longer time to get from point A to point B, meaning that it's going to be moving slower on a slower speed. And if it takes it 5 seconds, then it's going to be going even much more slower, and this means also much less speed. So let's do a demonstration for this. And of course, in order to tell Blender that we want to move this cube from one point to another, we have to create a keyframe here on the timeline. A keyframe will register the location and other movements of the object, and also the time that it took the object to get to this point. So while the object is here, I'm going to hit I, and this will open a keyframe menu. And in this keyframe menu, I can choose which value I want to add to the movement of this cube, whether it's location, rotation, or scale, or a combination of all of these, like location, rotation, scale, location, scale, etc. Okay, so in this point, in this example, I'm going to select location. And I want this cube to move from point A to point B in only 1 second. So how do I tell that this is 1 second? We need to know that in Blender, every 1 second is 24 frames. So here on the timeline, I have values, and it usually starts at 1. And if I change this to 24 and hit enter, then the distance between the two keyframes that I will create is going to be 1 second. So I move the cursor to frame 24. I'm going to move the cube to point B, and I will hit I again and select location. So if I go back right here, see it will move from point A to point B, and it will take exactly 1 second for it to move. Let's try to move the cube back to its place, but this time I'm going to select 48 frames to make it move back to point A in 2 seconds. So 24 plus 48, that's 72. There we go. And I'm going to move this back right here, and I will hit I and choose location. So let's see. Let's go back to frame 1. Took 1 second to go to B, but 2 seconds to go to A. And as you can see, it's moving slower now between the 2 points. Okay, let's try 3 seconds. What's 3 seconds? That's 72, and we already have 72, so that's going to be 144. There's 124, 44, and let's gonna move it back to point B and hit I, location, and let's see how the speed looks like now. Fast, slow, slower. So again, less time, higher speed, more time, lower speed. This is the principle of timing. Also, in Blender, you can literally animate anything. So if I go back to frame 1, and here I'm going to hit I and select location, rotation. And then I'm going to go to frame 2, but here in frame 2, I'm going to rotate this cube on the z-axis several times, and we'll hit I and choose location, rotation. So let's see what happened. It started rotating while moving. Let's do the same thing again, but while it goes back, it also goes back to its original rotation, and I will hit I, location, rotation, and let's see what's going to happen. So it moves, then it spins back, trying to get back to its original shape or rotation. Okay, let's try scale. So I'm going to hit I, and this time I'm going to hit location, rotation, scale. I'm going to move to frame 2, right here, and I'm going to scale it up a little, and hit I, location, rotation, scale, and then go back to frame 3, and then hit Option or Alt S to bring it back to its original size. I, location, rotation, scale. Let's see. So now it's increases size and then go back to its original size. So now we know that we can control the location, the rotation, and the scale of the cube. Okay, let's try some other tricks. So if I can animate anything in Blender, how about materials? Can I animate materials? Let's see here. I'm going to go to the material dialog. I'm going to add a new material, and I'm going to make this red. Cool. And if I hover my mouse over the diffuse color and hit I, you'll see that it is highlighted with yellow, meaning that a keyframe was registered for it. I will move to keyframe 2, and here I'm going to change the color to yellow, and again hover my mouse and hit I, and let's see what happened. See, the color is changing from one point to the other. Let's try another color on keyframe 3, and this time I'm going to give it green, and also hover and hit I, and now it's changing from yellow to green. We'll do the same thing on keyframe 4, and now I'm going to give it a blue, and we'll hit I, and this will change the color. See, it's already changing. Okay. What about modifiers? Let's see. So I will go back to frame 1. I'm going to go to modifiers. and let's try something like subdivision surface. And you can see now that it's already changing shape, trying to get closer to a sphere, but I'm going to go back here and give it the value of 0, and I will hover my mouse and hit I, and as you can see now it's highlighted in yellow. I will go to keyframe 2 and give it a value of 2 and I, and let's see if this is going to work. Yep, it's working. And then I'm going to go to keyframe 3 and go down to 0 and I, and now it's going back to its original shape. Okay, let's delete the subdivision modifier, go back to keyframe 1 and try another modifier. Let's see, maybe build. And in build, this allows me to destroy the geometry, and I'm going to bring back the value, put down the value to maybe 120, and now I'm going to hit I, and now it's highlighted in yellow. Go to keyframe 2 and then increase the value until it has only one face left. Hit I, and let's see if this is going to work. See, it started building itself back again and then being destroyed again. Another modifier, let's see, maybe array. And in array, you can create several objects and make distance between them, like so. But for now, I'm going to go down to 1 and hit I, highlighted. Oops. Need to go back to frame 1. Okay. Hit I, and then I'm going to move to frame 2, and here I'm going to give it a value of 3 and change some of these values as well, like so. And we'll hit I again, and let's see what's going to happen. See, it started with 1 cube, and then it became 3, and then on keyframe 3, I will go back to 1 and hit I. Again, you can literally animate anything on Blender. So these are the basics of animation. In coming videos, I'm going to show you some other animation principles like squash and stretch. This will be useful when we do the bouncing ball assignment. Okay, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.